All right, we live on
Ooh, damn,
YouTube,
we back live
National
too.
Sports Chat.
Oh
No,
shit!
no platform.
Let's get it.
Hey,
We back live.
hell yeah!
All right,
Fuck nigga, hold
all right,
up.
rolling the countdown.
All right. Yo, what's going on, sports family, man? And we back again with another episode of Micah and Friends, man. And today we got the usual suspects checking in, man. Nate all the way from the West Coast, aka the best coast.
Yes, sir.
Just
You
a
already
different
know.
side of the coast. Well, this further north.
Different edge of the coast, you know. Checking in.
Facto, man. How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm good. Blessed up to be in Oakland, you know, blessed to be back on Micah and Friends. You know, happy that the Lakers LA got a title. So I'm lit, man. I'm ready to go.
Come on, man. You was a Clip, you was just a Clippers. Nah.
Hey, but I've been a LeBron fan, so niggas already know how I'm coming.
Oh, we got my man Cott checking in all the way from Maryland, man. What's going on, bro? You doing good?
Yes, sir.
Repping the Sox, man. Repping the crib today. What's going on?
Everything straight, man. Just blessed, man. Blessed to be here. Happy to be on the show, man. Talk some good talk with my good fellas, man.
Man, it's gonna be a good one today too, man. This whole episode is being presented by National Sports Chat. Make sure you go over there, check us up on YouTube, IG, all that, man. We live right now. Shout out to the ones watching. Make sure you go over there. This whole video is being sponsored by TOV Sports, man. So make sure you go over there, check them out. YouTube, IG, Facebook, all that. So we everywhere, man. But we about to get it started, man. We seeing what happened over this weekend, and I need to get y'all finals reactions. My pick was right. Lakers in 6-7. It was partially right. I ain't gonna take that. You know what I'm saying? But man, Cott, I need to get in. I need to hear you first, man. Let me get your thoughts on this, on the championship, man.
Man, so I'm gonna start off by saying, obviously my pick was wrong. Lakers pulled it out. I thought that Miami could, you know what I'm saying, come up with a defensive scheme to possibly give them problems and pull this one out. But we just saw, man, the two best players, well, the best player in the world right now, best active player in the world right now, Anthony Davis, they showed their dominance. The whole Lakers, LeBron James, I really want to give my hat off to him. Things we're watching him do is incredible, man. 35 years old. The fact he's able to play at such a high level, his age, is something that really should be talked about more, and we need to really appreciate this man while he's here. I know I gained a new level of respect for him after the championship, because the bubble was no easy feat. It was definitely a different environment, something we've never seen before, and I mean, he definitely didn't waver in anything. He, through all his off the court endeavors, he was still able to perform at the highest level. And I think the Lakers, this was their year, man. It was a great constructed team. I personally knew whoever came out the West figured was going to win the ring this year. The Clippers, and even we didn't see the Western Conference Finals matchup. And that's probably the only team that I thought that could actually give that team some go. But
Facts.
man, hats off to the Lakers, man. They played their ass off. But I still want shout out to the Heat too, man. They had a great run. Gave it their shout out Jimmy Butler. He was. I mean, definitely wasn't the grand finale we all hope to see, but hey, man, they were obviously undermatched. They just didn't have the experience that the Lakers had, the size. There was a lot of things there, but shout out to the Lakers. They did what they had to do, got the job done.
Man, definitely salute to them, man. I feel like this is a good ring, bro. No asterisks at all. You know what I'm saying? Definitely salute to them for getting that. But I had a couple problems, and for me, it was just them not being able to get it done in 5, bro. Which I really thought it should have been done, and I wouldn't push the sweep, but I'll say 5 for sure. And they weren't able to get it done, you know. And it's not LeBron's fault at all because he kicked the ball to Danny Green to hit the shot. And you're a champion, bro. Now a 3-time champion, so you got to knock that shot down. I would have rather them finished it off in 5 for sure, just to show more of a dominant performance. Man, I just feel like it was a good ring all around, though, man. It was nothing to really be mad about. LeBron, one thing I do want to point out within it all, and I want to get y'all thoughts on this because a lot of people like, man, you a LeBron hater, you a LeBron hater, but I always give LeBron his just due, and I feel like LeBron is one of the GOATs. You feel me? Like I look at Kobe, Jordan, and LeBron, and you feel me, in the same. When I talk about GOATs, they're in the same arena. It's not like, you know what I'm saying, nothing different, but it's just different things. And I feel like LeBron has to get over that personally. It's like, dog, like, bro, you can't be in your 17th season, 35 years old, talking about shit. I should get my respect. No. Like, nigga, you already solidified, bro. Anybody who think you ain't solidified, bro, they points is invalid. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he just trying to chase a ghost race. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, just be LeBron at the end of the day. You don't have to try to outdo Jordan or outdo Kobe or anything. Just outdo yourself, bro. Because you looking silly to me in your 17th season saying, well, shit, I need my respect. Nigga, how you feel like you ain't respected? Any nigga who ain't respected, you should get slapped. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just.
I mean, but you gotta be real though. You know, like, yeah, they should be slapped, but at the end of the day, bro, it's a lot of dudes who are on TV. You know, your Skip Baylesses, your Rob Parkers. You know, the dudes who are on TV, like actively hating on dude. You feel me? That have never, you know, he's never done nothing to him, so to them, and like, you know, for how great he is and the respect he does get. You could argue that he's still one of the most disrespected superstars that we've ever seen. You feel me? Like, at the end of the day, you know, even when it comes to Jordan or Kobe, they never had the influence of social media. You feel me? Of media, of so many people with talking heads and so many voices. You know, everybody got a podcast, or, you know, everybody got a platform these days, an Instagram Live, you know, a Twitter where they can talk shit. You feel me? Back in the day, you know, people's probably talking mess about Michael and Kobe, but they may just never know. They may never see it. You feel me? LeBron on his timeline, this dude's actively hating.
My thing is, that's all cool, right? But it's just like within yourself, bro. Because if you begging for respect in your 17th year, it's something that you feeling for yourself, bro. And social media shouldn't do that, bro.
Well, let me ask you this, though.
Already did the match.
Would you rather him combat his haters by asking for I'm not gonna say he begged for respect. I think he just said, like, shit, it's time for my respect. Would you rather he have approached it like that, or have he approached it like KD and have burners and try to get his respect like that? You feel me? Which one you going with?
But I don't think KD got respect for that. KD got respect for winning. For me, I'm just saying, for me personally, he got respect for winning. Bron gets more respect for me for winning. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, bro, you can't just fall into what they say, because no matter what, even with me, no matter how he could go and ring 20 rings in a row, Jordan still, it's just personal opinion for a lot of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jordan is still be better than me. That's just how it is. And I ain't trying to act like.
I will say, I do agree with Nate a little bit, because he is constantly. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan out here. He's
Hmm.
personally not my all around GOAT, but he does take a lot of heat from a lot of people. And I don't know. I don't feel like I didn't take his quote as he was begging for respect, but like I said, even for me, he did achieve another level of respect by winning this championship because just of the environment, how he handled the entire situation. I mean, just
Hmm.
this man carried the longevity and how long this man and everything how he has carried himself throughout his career. It the longer, the more he extends his resume, the more impressive it gets. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would say he is pretty disrespected on the grand scheme of things. But Mike, I can definitely hear where you're coming from as far as dude, like you have 75 million followers on Instagram. You're
Hmm.
you're known as the king. Like I mean, I don't
Come
see
on, bro.
what level you need besides like who cares about Instagram haters? Everyone can have
But
haters,
I
regardless.
think that was kind of a big theme of like the Lakers season in general. Like if you really do look at the numbers and the stats of what everybody was saying about the Lakers all season, they have been pretty disrespected, you know. And I'm not sure if that's just a LeBron thing, but the fact that you got two guys on first team, right? You don't get a Defensive Player of the
Hmm.
Year award. You don't get an MVP. You don't get an Executive of the Year award. You feel me? But
Uh-huh.
you in the championship. You know, like
Yeah.
before the season started, you can look back now at all the quotes and stuff, people talking about how the Lakers were ill equipped. I saw some quote where somebody was asking, are the chances more high of LeBron and the Lakers missing the playoffs than getting the finals ring? Saying, there were a lot of things out there before this season started that you would consider very disrespectful, just considering the history of what LeBron's done. Like, last year was a
Yeah.
small sample size in the grand scheme of things, but I think people were kind of taking last year as an excuse to finally be like, all right, we finally seen LeBron off his pinnacle. Kind of like how Tom Brady is. Max Kellerman saying they're waiting on the cliff. Everybody's still waiting on that
Hmm.
cliff. And the fact is that cliff just didn't come. If
Hmm.
anything, LeBron has maybe gotten better as a player depending on what you're looking at. You're looking at if you're
For
looking at
sure.
assists, you're looking at playmaking. And that's why I think this Lakers title has been pretty good. I think one of their better runs. I mean, considering what happened to Kobe, having COVID, having
Hmm.
to stop the season when they just got rolling, and then coming into the bubble, they weren't playing well at all. They 3-5 going into the
Yeah.
games. People talking about, oh, Portland might give them a run for their money. Houston might give them a
Hmm.
run for their money. Oh, Denver, the comeback kids. You feel me? So that's kind of why I think LeBron
Yeah.
maybe went to that point to say he wants the respect, because it's like all postseason, all year, dude's been doubting him. Clippers are gonna get him.
Yeah.
Oh, if they get to the finals, the Celtics might get him. And people just want something different, so that's cool to think. But I think he kind of just used it as fuel. My hats off to Miami though; they played extremely hard. Like Kai
Hmm.
said, man, I got to give a lot of respect to Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Kelly Olynyk. They all stepped up and like played like
Hmm.
all stars in their role. You feel me? You
Hmm.
can't ask for young players to take you over the hump in the finals, but you can ask them to play hard. Always just try to do their role and if, whatever that is. So
Hmm.
Duncan Robinson is shooting, Tyler Hero. You feel me? We're scoring sometimes, but playmaking here or there, and that's big time. I think they even with Bam or Goran probably would have gotten a 6-game series like me and Micah called. So shout out to you,
Hmm.
Micah. You know what I'm saying? We knew from the jump, but they got a lot of potential. That dude, Jimmy Butler, whether we want to admit it or not, he played like a superstar. Whether he is or
Yeah.
not throughout the entire season, that's yet to be proven. We got to see it again next year. But what we've
Hmm.
seen from him the past 3 years, going to Minnesota, taking them to the playoffs, first time, longest playoff drought in their history. Going to Philly,
Hmm.
one bounce away from maybe an Eastern Conference Finals. Coming to Miami, you get to the finals, you put up 3 triple doubles, 30-point triple doubles. I mean, that's what you
Average
ask for from
26, 10, and 8
you can't ask
in the
for
finals.
much more, you know what I'm saying, from any type of player. Like I'm not sure if
Hmm.
Kawhi's average numbers like that in the finals. They actually haven't. I mean, Jimmy Butler's one of the very few to have like a 40-point triple double in the finals. So I
Hmm.
give him his respect. I think they're one piece away and some player development away from really being like a solidified every single year. You're gonna have to get through the
Hmm.
heat to get to the finals.
Hmm.
Player away. But yeah, man, big hats off to the Lakers.
One
Go ahead.
thing my real quick. I mean, Nate. One thing a person I definitely want to salute is Frank Vogel, bro. And I was always telling my homie Dale, I'm like, man, Frank Vogel, he's one of those guys. Of course, he's not one of those demanding guys and not one of those headlining coaches, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He never put his team in a position to lose. He always put his team in a position to succeed and win. Whether that's even game 5, he made the right move, pulling Caruso out and putting Danny Green in. Because nigga, you are a sharpshooter from 3. You just fluked out. You know what I'm saying? So he never ever hurt his team's chances at winning the game. He always put his best foot forward every game. So I definitely want to salute him for that. And on the other side, Nate, like you said, man, like with the Heat, they're young and they did a lot of things this year that a lot of teams who've been together for 5-6 years would never do and won't never dream to do. You know what I'm saying? And able really contending. A lot of teams wouldn't have took that Lakers team 6 games. You know what I'm saying? So definitely salute to them. Nate, it seemed like you had a little bit more.
I want to hit on that Frank Vogel point. I think the most important thing he did was establish a culture of defense. You feel me? Because that's kind of been the knock on LeBron, and it was warranted. I thought the past few years, like his defense definitely was a little questionable. But this year, I mean, when him and AD were locked in, I thought that Lakers defensive team and the guys that Rob Pelinka got, Caruso, KCP, Danny Green, Rondo, you got some very scrappy defenders. You got even a guy like Dwight to come in and defend, just play hard. So I think that culture will serve them well going forward. If like that's their calling card and you got AD leading like a all-time great Laker defense, I mean, that to me seems like championships to come, or at least appearances in the championship.
And one more thing before we get on to this next topic. Definitely salute to KCP, nigga. From going
Facts.
to jail and playing in games every what was it? It was damn near for
Every
quarter
other
of the
day.
season last year. Yeah, so it's like from doing that to now being a champion.
Third best player on the championship too.
Yeah, for playing for an organization whose fans always try to backdoor you, like, all right, man, get rid of his ass. He dirt. You know what I'm saying? But he really showed up and showed and proved to be the third scorer, whether it was him or Rondo on a nightly basis. He always showed up. So definitely salute to KCP. And I feel like they're keeping around for a little bit more in LA.
For sure.
But y'all got anything else before we go on to the next topic?
Man, shout out Bron getting his 4th. And now the Lakers tied up with the Celtics. That's a big time one also, because both of them are still upcoming. I think the Lakers will get better. I think the Celtics will get better. So maybe look for next year or maybe even in 2 years. That could be a potential finals matchup. Pretty interesting one, too.
Yeah. Hey!
Yo,
what's good?
Amir done checked in. Man.
Just getting off. My fault.
We about to roll it. We getting into the second topic. So, man. Danny Green and the death threats, bro. I need to get y'all thoughts just on the death threats. The game 5 miss. I just need the thoughts all the way around. I may start it off, bro. That's what comes with it, bro. You're playing for one of the biggest markets. Then you miss one of the biggest shots to end the season, end the playoffs, get a ring, get your 3rd ring. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he definitely should have been more dialed in because everybody on that court executed except for him. You know what I'm saying? And not saying you hit every shot, but that's one of those ones you hit that shot. You know what I'm saying? Even when AD hit the game beater. I said the game beater, the buzzer beater. You know what I'm saying? You got to hit those shots, bro. So definitely I feel like I don't like it, but that's just the world we live in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got access to everybody now. So people could say anything. So I just feel like he should have made the shot. And that stuff wouldn't happen.
Simple.
I mean,
go ahead.
Let me get your thoughts.
So personally, I think that a big factor that has to play in this is sports betting, in all honesty.
Okay. That's a good point.
Just because of the amount of wagers and amount of money people betting on these games, it brings a different level of involvement and intensity. So even though I'm pretty sure this isn't the first time somebody's been threatened after a game. These guys been famous, you know what I mean? But I do feel like that they had
Hey,
I
who's
do
T?
feel
They
that
saying Amir Ti. I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
As soon
We
as
gotta
it goes
address that
24
comment.
hours chance, I switch up the hat down TI. Like, you know, I'm whatever the people want. Like,
I can't.
We
can't
have
hear
to
you,
address
Amir.
that one, Cop. My bad.
all right, hold on.
But yeah, man. So I think that plays a big role, man. But regardless of that, it should never get to that point, man. Like this is just a game,
Yeah.
it's a sport. Like the fact that, and there's one thing to threaten Danny Green, which isn't right, but you threatening the man's
Mhm.
wife. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
That's his family. It gets serious at that point. So man, that's just totally uncalled for. But regarding the play, I personally don't think he should have ever been put in that situation anyway. Personally,
Woo.
I don't think that he should be the one. He should have been the one
Talk
taking.
spicy then, Cot.
Personally, it was 16 seconds on the clock. LeBron James had 40 points. He had five. He missed 5 shots the whole game. You know what I mean? He decided when he got the ball. Pretty sure that it was fresh out of a timeout, so I'm pretty sure that was a design play for Danny Green to come up and set the screen, get the switch on the Duncan Robinson. But I feel like that you put Danny in a tough position because in that last possession, as the Miami Heat, you're saying if LeBron James, if somebody takes a screen on Jimmy Butler, we are doubling LeBron James. We are not letting. So obviously that screen is going to be open. So I mean, it was strategic, but I feel like Danny Green ain't hit a shot since he's been in the bubble. Like he's
Damn.
so regardless of his past performances and what he's done, you got to go about right now. Right now, LeBron James is hot.
I feel it.
40 points. I would have followed LeBron, Jimmy Butler, the matchup everybody wanted to see.
Money on the line.
LeBron James shot. I'm taking that last shot. You up 3-1. 16 seconds on the clock. Okay, F it. LeBron missed that shot. I'm rocking, living and dying by my best player who he was like 6 for 8 from 3 that game, like
75%.
75%. So, I mean, I personally don't think Danny should have ever been put in that situation. But
I can't let you off that easy. I can't let you off that easy, Cot.
All right, talk to me.
Because just the simple fact of doing your job, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's literally like giving it to a kicker, bro. That's like giving it to a kicker. You feel me? At the 30-yard line, that's a straight on uncontested 3. You know what I'm saying? It's pressure, but that's the pressure that comes with being an NBA player and a shooter and a champion. You feel me? I'm not gonna say I would have. I'm not gonna say that I prefer him taking that shot. To Kot's point,
exactly,
like you're saying, I don't prefer that, but. You feel me? It's game 3. You up. I mean, it's game 5. You're up 3-1, right? You feel me? If it's game 7, I don't think LeBron's passing that. But it's game 5. You know what I'm saying? Why not spread it to your wide open shooter? You know, why not give it to the guy who? And even then, Danny Green, he didn't have to take that 3 if he was off balance. There was 9 seconds left. He could have took a pump fake, blow by, maybe floater, or swing it to KCP, or get it back to LeBron. You know what I'm saying? If he wasn't comfortable taking that shot, then either just don't shoot it, which at that point probably would have looked worse because he was wide open. So, you know, you got to make shots, but I also wasn't too mad at him because, like you said, the ball to me, shouldn't have been on the court because he's been terrible all playoffs. And, you know, I think he's not fielding death threats if he wasn't as bad all playoffs. Like, if he was getting off most of the playoffs, then he just missed a shot finally, you know, then it happens. Like, that's, you know, stuff like that happens. You're not going to make every shot. But he's been playing so terribly all playoffs, averaging like 6 points throughout the playoffs. I mean, you're getting paid $15 million a season, you know, and that's not counting the man's pockets, but it's just saying, like, to your point, Micah, do your job. And I don't think death threats are ever warranted. I think people got to get lies, man. I mean, you're not getting paid for this stuff. I mean, you're not the person actually out there. Like Danny Green, I'm sure he had a talk with himself about it before the social media pressure, because like you said, that's his job. You know, you always want to perform well in your job, so adding death threats to a man's life while he's already been in a bubble for 100 days, that's messed up. But
Nate,
you know,
real quick, because you said something before I let Amir in here. You said that that shot was a lot of pressure, and I feel like this is making Kot's point, because it's like to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Because there's really nobody there. So you gotta really hit that shit.
Yeah.
Like, you can't not hit it.
I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, yes, it's a lot of pressure, and that's why people wanted LeBron to take that shot, right? You want your best player taking that last shot, which I understand that point. To Kyle's point, I thought he could have just ISO'd. I thought he was going to get the switch with Duncan Robinson, but either way, he probably would have got double teamed. So that we can look at all that stuff in retrospect, but I do think it was a good play to pass it out. I mean, you get it to a wide open shooter. That shooter could have done any other thing besides shoot. Also, it's not like it was 2 seconds left. Like, he had to shoot it.
You know, as a shooter, if you get an open look, then
you got to put it up.
You got to put it up. And don't get me wrong, LeBron made the right play based on the decision that he made. I just don't think that it was the best play to run. And
go with the high hand.
I'm going with the high hand. I'm going with the best player in the world. Come on, dude. You missed 5 shots the whole game, man. Mano, I'm living with LeBron, living it down with that shot. That's just me. I mean, and see the result. I mean, I feel like the result. Now, Danny Green hits the shot. That's a different story. It's nothing about the result. I feel like helps my point even a little more, because this is a guy who you put the whole championship. They don't call Danny Green the king of it. They don't, what I mean? Like, he's a shooter. Don't get me wrong.
That's very true.
But you don't you gonna put the championship, the Laker franchise in Danny Green.
But to your point, that game wasn't the end all be all, and that's why I think I'd agree with you. It wasn't the best decision if it was the championship on the line. Like, say they were down 2-1 or 2-2 or something like that. Right. They were tied up. You feel me? Then at that point, I would really expect LeBron to take the shot. Game 7, even Game 6, if it went down to a tight one, I'd expect LeBron to take that shot. But the fact that I think he realized, at the end of the day, we lose this one, he make or miss that shot, their season wasn't over. So you trust your teammate, you make the right play. You go with what is like a basketball player, and that's get the guy a wide open shot. But in a Game 7 or a must-win scenario, which Game 5 proved not to be, then, I think it's okay to trust your teammate. But to your point, Kai, I would have liked to see him take that shot. Game 7, any other time, that has to be a shot. Either he or AD shoots. But the fact they had 2 other chances to win, I think he was just like, you know what? The guy's wide open. You got to hit one eventually, right?
True.
Man, Amir, let me get your thoughts on here, man. Let me, just with the Danny Green depth threats, the shot, all that. Let me just get your thoughts.
Real quick, can y'all hear me though?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, perfect. So first thing, right? Like, I think to Bro's point, like, if you got the time to send death threats in 2020 with the pandemic happening, like, you probably still waiting for that stimulation check, because your priorities are all messed up. My second thing, though, tell me if I'm wrong, because I know y'all the basketball people, but wasn't Danny Green like winning championships with the Spurs too? Like, this isn't his first championship go around.
Yeah, he's a 3-time champion.
Yeah,
he's
bro.
right.
Like, at this point, you were paid and you were brought. I was old enough to remember a year and a half ago when they were like, we're desperate for shooters. We need to bring in Danny Green. You were brought there to shoot the ball from the 3-point line and for those shits to go in. If they're not going in, you're at the will of whatever happens after the fact. Now, I disagree with, like I said, anybody coming for somebody's life and talking about somebody's wife. Like, she has nothing to do with the game that's at hand. But at the same time, like, if we're going to talk specifically about what you're paid to do, Danny, like, I was in and out with the playoffs. I didn't see him make one shot the whole series. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. And like,
he was cold.
Damn.
He was, and it was just like, and I was like, bro, like, you've done this before. Like, matter of fact, you were paid because you've done this before in the same exact circumstances. In championships, he was shooting threes. Like, he was like that. So, like I said, overall, death threats, like, come on, bro. Like, people need to get lives, but you got to make those threes, bro. Like, if you come back next year, if he comes back to LA, or if he goes to somebody else and becomes a role player, like, you need to be, at the very least, a dead-eye 3-point shooter consistently.
It's crazy. He has the dead-eye tattoo on his elbow. He literally got the dead-eye tattoo on his elbow. So he kind of put it a little bit on himself, a little bit of that pressure on himself. So you just got to perform. But also, while we're on this topic, I think Markieff Morris had an even bigger blunder because when you look at it, I mean, Danny Green missed a shot. Dudes miss shots all the time.
All right. JR
Markieff,
level? Because it's like the time is running down, and he wasn't really expecting a
I'm not
long.
going to say JR level because JR should have known the clock, and I was to get game one in Oracle. But I mean, it was pretty bad. Like, bro, either shoot the ball because they left him wide open, or I mean, make a better pass. Like you had 6 seconds. That's just bad clock awareness. That was almost. I mean, it was costly. Game could have been over.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was to me that one was kind of worse.
I definitely give him some of the blame for it as well because he's a playmaker himself. So it's not like he couldn't even put the ball on the floor. You know what I'm saying? There's 6 seconds left, so you could put the ball on the floor and do a little bit of something. But man, just to move on to this next one, I need to get y'all thoughts on who Miami is going to pursue this offseason. And man, Nate, I'm gonna start it off with you. Who you think they're gonna pursue this offseason?
I think the Miami Heat have to go after Bradley Beal. That's the one guy I think right now really fits their culture and fits a specific need. I mean, him and Jimmy Butler. I mean, Jimmy's more of your defensive specialist, like a Swiss Army knife. He can actually do it all, but he's more suited as a playmaker than a scorer. Bradley Beal is a pure bucket getter. You know what I'm saying? He's already athletic. He's still relatively young, hard worker by all standards. And I think he would really fit in that Miami culture. Unfortunately, you probably have to split ways with maybe like Tyler Hero, who's proved himself to be pretty good. Probably have to get rid of him. Probably would have to get rid of Kendrick Nunn. I mean, he is, but you saw what happened with the AD trade. BI was cheap. Josh Hart was cheap. Lonzo was cheap. But, they don't add up to Bradley. In my opinion, I don't think that Tyler Hero, Nunn, Kelly Olynyk, maybe a few picks. I don't think that adds up to Bradley. He'll add to your window of championship success a few years off the rip. He gets to stay in the East, gets to play under Pat Riley, live back in Florida where he actually went for school. So, I think that would be a perfect pickup, match culture identities, and just really match a positional fit.
Yeah, I feel that. I ain't mad at that. Amir, who you think the Heat need to go out and grab this offseason?
I don't know. I have to really sit down and look again at who's going to be free agents coming up. But I think Beal is definitely somebody who a lot of teams are going to be clamoring after. I think to his point, like they're gonna have to give up somebody, and I think Hero's going to be that one person that I think Miami's going to be like, bro, we can't give him up. Like Jimmy and Hero are going to be our two untouchables, and we'll sacrifice anybody else. Mm-hmm. But I think that was Miami's only issue and that's why I was so aggravated that they beat my team in 5 games. It was like, bro, they don't even have the players player for player to even beat us, and they beat us in 5. And they didn't have the horses to compete with a LeBron and AD for a best of 4 games. If you put a Bill in there, that's a completely different situation. Like Jimmy played his heart out. Was it game 5, game 6, or it was game 5? He played his heart out. You have somebody else right there with him. We could push that game to 7-game series, and it can really get interesting. So I'm really interested to see how much they're willing to give up because you did get to the finals. So do you want to run the risk what a lot of teams do and give up way too much, and then now you're losing in the 2nd or 3rd round to a team that has more chemistry, that was able to kind of get their stuff together early on? Or do you just kind of risk it and say, okay, listen, we're going to bring in a couple more role players, a couple more people on the bench, maybe pay for one more person, and we're going to wait for the big fish a year from now with Giannis? There's a lot of different options, but I'm always a believer in don't dismantle the team too much if you're right there. Clearly it's just a personality.
Well, I think they won't have to go too deep besides Tyler Hero because if you keep Jimmy Butler, you keep Duncan Robinson, premier shooter, you keep Bam Adebayo, to me, that's your core 3 right there to build around. Duncan Robinson's that superb sniper right now that every single team needs. Bam Adebayo, transitional big, kind of like a Jokic, play make, defend the rim. And then you got Jimmy. who we just talked about being a superstar. You add Brad to that mix. It's unfortunate that Tyler Hero may have to be the chip, and that's just me giving credit to Tyler Hero because he's good. So the Wizards might want him back, as a piece to build their future. But I mean, if you're a team like Miami that can compete now and you can keep those three core guys, maybe a Goran Dragic, maybe a Iguodala, maybe Jay Crowder, keep those guys. It sucks to lose youth, but Bradley Beal's only 26, 26 himself. So he's still pretty young.
Damn near a rookie in basketball.
Exactly.
Age. Yeah.
So that might be willing.
I feel like if they have to make that decision to let Tyler Hero walk, they won't get hung up on him like how the Lakers was. Like, man, should we let Kuzma? Should we let Lonzo? Should Pat Riley wasn't guys?
Whoever you want.
If it's on the table, get out of here.
Whoever you want.
So, yeah, but for me, I feel like Giannis would be a better pick for them. And I wouldn't really go after him this offseason. I would start I would start building my campaign to go get him for the 2021 season when he's a free agent. But I definitely think Giannis would be the right move for them because, one, having a big that could be able to play 5, guard 1 through 5, you know what I'm saying, and still be as dynamic as Giannis. I'm saying Yannick. As Giannis, and you could possibly hold on to Tyler Hero for what it's worth. You could hold on to Duncan Robinson for what it's worth because at the end of the day. But if they have to bring in Bradley Beal, I feel like they'll have to bring in a 5 shortly after that because it won't work when you keep going back to the finals and you're looking at AD. Like, that's not going to work. You got to have somebody, at least size-wise, that could be able to stick in there with them, and just buy their shot.
This is my question about Giannis, though, that I'd like to ask you, Micah. Do you feel like his game style translate to what Miami currently does with shooting threes, being able to guard switches, mismatches, etc.? Because I think with the way his game is currently constructed, I mean, I think he'd kind of run into the same problem he did against any other team, like against Miami. When you get to that finals, I mean, he has to add a jumper because Jimmy, as we saw, does not like to shoot the basketball himself. Bam's not really a stretcher either. So, I mean, Duncan and Tyler are great shooters, but I mean, you're going to rely on 2 players for perimeter shots. So that's my question to you about Giannis and his fit.
I feel like it'd be a little bit better for space in the floor, but you're right. They definitely need more perimeter shooting, and I don't know how would they get that in the draft or they bring something else in. But bringing a shooter in is expensive. Like I feel like we talked about this last episode, but even with Redick is still demanding $20 million contracts, rightfully so. So having a playmaking guard would definitely help, but I feel like having a playmaking big serve them better than having a playmaking guard because I feel like they could put it together, on the front court, but this is just the back court that has questions when they get later into the playoffs.
Well, it's a good problem to have. Either problem that they have between getting Giannis and Beal, that's a great problem to have. And they're in a good place for the future. I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think Bradley and Jimmy will be great, like front court tandem. But him and Giannis, I mean, that's adding a 2-time MVP. So either way, whichever direction they go in is a good direction.
Yeah, you're right. They definitely did it the right way with how they constructed the team. Just the player makeup, making them into dogs, putting them in the right environment for that player development, all that. So they definitely did it the right way, very cap friendly. So it'll just be interesting to see. I know they're not gonna make no moves like the New York Knicks would do with this type of money. They'll just blow it on Bobby Portis and give him 8 years for $1 trillion. But
why you talking about your team like that, bro?
Man, freedom boys, man. That's the only thing I can say. Y'all got anything else on this one?
No, like I said, Giannis, I think it's flashy. It's an automatic moneymaker. My fear would be like they would turn into the new Philly, where you have 2 people that do the exact same thing, and what they really need they don't have because they have to give up something. Because if you bring in Giannis, I mean, God knows how much money you're gonna have to dump for that, and then who you're gonna have to expense at that. And I think in the
You're
NBA,
gonna have to
you
max
can
them
only
out.
yeah, exactly. And you can only the only type of player you can have too much of and be okay is a shooter. You can't have too
Yeah.
many big. You can't have too many small people that just pass. You need to have a lot of shooters. And I think Beal's it. I think Beal already has a family, so he's not going to get caught up in that whole Miami Lights theme and all that stuff. And Giannis wouldn't either. But I think Beal has lost long enough, and it's clear he's like, yo, like I'm trying to do the righteous thing and like not complain, but. The first time he gets to a competitor, I think his folks are gonna be like, I need to shake off this losing thing. So
I feel like we may be cheating ourselves even more because Miami could get both of them. Really, you know what
It's
I'm saying?
possible.
With their cap,
They would have to trade for Bradley and then just sign Giannis flat out in free agency.
yeah. Facto. But y'all got anything else before we get on to this next one?
Nah.
no, I'm good.
Man, bet it up. So the next one is: do you all think that AD will end his career in LA? And then I'm gonna start it off just because it's the crib. I don't think so. I feel like he'll stay there as long as LeBron will stay there and keep winning. But I feel like he'll finish it off in Chicago. I feel like in his mind, he probably feels like he owes that to Chicago. Just the same way LeBron felt like he owed that chip to Cleveland. I feel like he wants to be a part of the Bulls franchise. Granted, that's not my team at all, but that's something I'd definitely like to see. AD in Chicago, that's box office, so I don't know, man. I definitely think he won't end his career there, but he's going to stay in LA just as long as Bron does, maybe a year after even, But let me get y'all thoughts on that. Amir, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think AD's gonna start drinking that LeBron Kool-Aid where it's like wherever I'm at, like I need a motherfucker who can ball out with me. Like, man,
Yeah.
AD
I
did
thought
that
you
whole
were
like
longevity. My bad. I'm about to say I don't know if he got that.
not off of the accolades. I'm saying just off of the fact that like AD's been on teams where it was like, hey, I'm the flat out best player in the two. For in New Orleans, it was Drew Holiday. It was like he wasn't that dude to take them over the edge. I don't think he wants to get caught back in that type of situation. I think LeBron would have to help facilitate as far as like his mentoring factor to try and bring another star there with AD for him to be able to really stay it out for the full time. But I think you're right. I think LA has become this team where this organization rather where it's like after Kobe's gone, like we don't really need like a homegrown superstar that's going to stay the whole time. We just want to win, and if you want to bounce and go somewhere else, as long as you won here, it's okay. So I think he'll stay if he has somebody else there with him. If he doesn't, then he's certainly gonna go somewhere that's either home or another opportunity for him to really kind of do his own thing somewhere else.
Nate, what's your thoughts on that?
Man, I'm gonna have to disagree with y'all on this one. I think AD
Think he's staying?
I think he'll be a Laker for life, man. I just think the lineage of Laker big men is too great to pass up. I mean, if he's already in talks, not saying he's Shaq or not saying he's Kareem or anything like that, but he's already in talks as one of the better Laker big men of all time, which by talent wise he is. Get some more accolades. He'll be able to prove it. But I think, especially having after Kobe passed, just seeing the legacy about the Laker franchise, because even me growing up in LA, like I wasn't a Laker fan growing up. But like seeing the legacy and seeing like the community atmosphere of the Lakers in general, like they go hard for the LA team. And like you guys said, they care about championships. And I don't think the Laker franchise is one where you come to as like a pit stop, like it's kind of like Glory Road. You feel me? Like he'll get another championship. They'll have the most championships in professional sports at 18. So it's like for him, as long as Jeanie Buss continues to bring pieces, continues to make the roster competitive, continues to prioritize good coaching, working hard, I think he'll stay there. I think it's a little different from him and Bron because Bron got drafted to Cleveland. They had never won a championship before. You go to Chicago, even though he's not a guard, he's still playing in the shadow of Michael Jordan. And right now, I think he's just at into the legacy of the Lakers as opposed to having to take it over. You know, he already got the championship. So it depends on what type of burden he wants to have for himself and what type of life he wants to live. But I think he's better suited being a Laker great.
Me as well. I definitely don't think Chicago the best move, but I think he definitely wants to see himself in that red and black and white jersey before it's all said and done. Just because I know that's where
It's home.
the crib, people just be wanting to do it in front of the crib, bro. That's really all it is. But y'all got any more thoughts on that?
No, I'll just say I think after him winning this championship, it's one thing if he got there and it was like it ended up being a shit show. Like he got the championship, I think he can kind of do anything at this point. And people will say, okay, well, you got us one. Let's say they fuck around, they run it back, they bring somebody, they get another one. So now you guys have the record. I think if he says, okay, I want to go back and really go back to my community, go back to where home is, I don't think people are going to really fault him for it. So he really is in a good position, but I really think it's contingent on who's going to come there with him. I don't think he's going to be staying nowhere by himself and just staying there off the strength of the years.
If they go for the 2-peat, he going for that 3-peat. But I do think he'll sign a long-term deal this summer, at least a 3-year deal, get him to that 10 years of service, and then sign that mega deal just so he can get the most money available.
I'm not mad at that. I looked at the list and we had missed one. And real quick, do y'all think LeBron could win another ring? Me personally, I feel like he could definitely win one in this league. Just because it just depends on who healthy. You know what I'm saying? And they're the top dogs right now. I don't see anybody really guarding AD like that. I just feel like they're gonna be able to stick around for a long time. Whether that's ring 5, 6, or 7, I definitely feel like he could definitely win another one out here. What's y'all thoughts on that, Nate? Let me get your thoughts.
I definitely think Bron can win another one. I mean, there's really not too many signs of slowing down. I really do think that this Laker roster will retool also, get a little younger this offseason. They got a lot of vets. I mean, LeBron's playing it, which he still would continue to probably do because his body's holding up so well. But, I mean, you know, it's not just about him. It's about AD, too. AD is a monster. He's only 27. He's getting better. By the time LeBron gets to like 37, 38, you know, he'll be 36 in December. AD might be in the middle of his prime. You know, he's not even in his prime yet, 27 years old. By the time he's like 30 years old, he might be one of the better players we've seen. You know, he already has a shot, already got a handle, already, you know, has big man footwork, amazing free throw shooter. By the time he gets 2 more years under his belt, playing with LeBron, playing under LA, you know, playing against that number one scrutiny, you know, I think he could be one of the better players, man. He already has all the tools, so I think that they can definitely get back there. Maybe they could probably get back there 2 out of the next 3, maybe. Just depending on from what I've seen this year and how they dominated the rest of the league, everybody else is gonna have to make adjustments.
Yeah, it just depends on what the West doing in the adjustments. Amir, let me get your thoughts. Do you think LeBron will be able to win another ring?
I think 2 factors really gonna have to play in. I think the way the NBA handles the calendar for next season in regards to the playing schedule is going to be big. If they make them play another 82 games, I think it's going to be a little difficult because although they were ripping through the West, I think having to do it again, because the way it's looking like, they're either going to have to take a short break this offseason, jump back so they can take a longer break for 2022, 2023 and be back on by October, or they're going to do that now and then take a short break 2022, 2023. Depending on what they choose to do with that, I think it's going to really decide, okay, is LeBron going to have the time to really like rest up, and they're going to put a team around him so where and then on top of that, if they only limit the season to 60 games, then I don't see too much that's going to get in his way. But that goes into my second point to where the only thing I think that will get in his way is whatever the hell Golden State does. Like, they are still there. And my man Clay, he's coming back. Steph is coming back. They have the number 2 pick. They might flip that for a Bradley Beal.
Gotta get wise, man.
Yeah,
be in there with AD.
Exactly, but let's say they bullshit it and they say, you know, we're gonna trade it for a third superstar, and now they have a true bona fide big 3, which is gonna be a small ball lineup. But I mean, who's gonna guard all 3 of them? Like all 3 of them deserve double team type of matchup. So I think seeing what Golden State does, and then depending on how they plan out this next schedule, is going to be the main factor for me. If they go 60 games and Golden State takes a minute to get back, or Braun and them are just really feeling this like we need a two-peat, then I think it's very possible. But I think his championship window has to be in the next 2 to 3 years. It has to be. If it's anything over that, I'm saying, okay, like he may have the ability to, but I know Braun has clearly shown that he's also interested in bigger and better things outside of ball. So I think he'll start to just focus to that and start getting his son ready, because his son's about to be a problem too.
Yeah. I ain't mad at that. I definitely think he'll be able to grab one probably within the next 3 to 4 years for sure. That may end up
gotta be
two-peated.
Gotta be within the next 3 before he's like 38, 39. I still think he'll be in the league by then and probably pretty productive. I mean, he could pass and rebound. Becoming a better shooter. But you know, the next 2-3 years, I'm really thinking next year and the year after that. You know, maybe grab one or two of those titles, leave the game with 5. I mean, I don't think he'd be mad at that. But I know AD wants to get more than one, so he'll be trying to re-up next year, most definitely.
Facto, man. Let's just get into this next one, man. It's more of on the sadder in the news, but Dak Prescott, man, he just got injured, broke his ankle cleanly. It was a compound fracture. He's out for 4 to 6 months, but it's likely 6 months. I want to get y'all thoughts just on just the injury and just everything surrounding it. And I'm gonna just start it off. It's an unfortunate situation. And granted, I'm not a Cowboys fan and I'm not really a Dak fan or anything like that. But when things like this happen, it just you can't have any negative words to say, you know. But the only thing I can say is how imperative it was for him to sign that contract, bro. That franchise tag, even though it's $31 million, I get it, bro. Like you want $40 million, you want Mahomes type money. But you gotta have that security. You know what I'm saying? Like you may not ever recover to where you are. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Dallas may look at you as a 15 to 18 or a 15 to $20 million quarterback, to where you were they had a $35 million deal on the table for you for like 4 or 5 years. So it's like, man, it's just so imperative that players sign these contracts. And I can't blame it on the Cowboys just because they offered him a contract. And I can't blame it on him because he wanted to get more money. It's just, man, you just got to do right by yourself and your body, because you never know what could happen. Football is definitely not like basketball. Basketball has way less serious season-ending injuries that happen, you know. So I just feel like he definitely has to make some decisions coming up, and I feel like it'll be some hard decisions on the Cowboys' end, because what if they feel like, man, he's not who he used to be, and I can't justify giving him $32 million a year, you know, just because we didn't pay him how people said we should have paid him up front. So I just feel like he should have just signed that contract, which was the $35 million a year contract, which was like 100 to 120 guaranteed. Should have did it, but I just feel bad for him. I hope he recovers fairly fast, man. Amir, let me get your thoughts on that.
No, I think you hit it right on the head. I think it's hindsight's always 20/20. It's easy for us to say now, like, he should have signed that. I get it. I think Dak wanted to get that Mahomes, that Watson type money, even though it's an open debate. But I'm on the side of that, bro. That's not your speed. Like, that's not there. So yeah, like it's easy for me to say back now, like, bro, you should have just signed that money and excuse me, and you know, just took that W and kept it moving. Now it's gonna get interesting. What I will say is, bone on bone injuries are way faster healing process than like a ligament to a ligament or a ligament to bone. So as gruesome as it was, with top-notch training, with him really taking care of his body, he'll be good and ready by time OTAs next season starts. So he'll have enough time to really try and prove himself that he's at the very least healthy and able to continue on playing. But certainly his contracts now, I mean, I was actually talking to an agent for another quarterback in the league about it, and he was saying like, no, like they're gonna get him. Like they're gonna have the contract where it's gonna be all incentive based. He's gonna have to hit every single quota, which is not for like backups or 37-year-old dudes come into the league, not for a dude who's enter his prime. So he was like, it's a dicey situation, but it just comes back to how he evaluated himself this time last year or going into the summer versus what he really was. And then now this situation just kind of makes it even more sticky, but definitely praying for a speedy recovery. Like injuries ruined my football career. So, I mean, I definitely understand the difficulties in it, but, I just hope he ends up, with a speedy recovery.
And it's even more harder when you have somebody like Andy Dalton backing you up who isn't a scrub. So it can be easy for let's say if Andy Dalton goes on to win and they have like a 10-6 season or a 9-7 season.
Not happening.
But let's just say though, let's say Andy does come back and he really starts balling. Andy's whole career is resurrected. He's gonna probably get a deal for somebody or get a bonus.
He'll get He'll get that Nick Foles treatment.
Yeah, like some team.
And he's one of those guys who could do more with more. You know what I'm saying? Like he never had a lot of pieces around him anyway in Cincinnati. He had AJ Green
and still with the playoffs,
Atkins and shit like that.
And he still went to the playoffs 8 years in a row. He just didn't win nothing, but he was leading the team to the playoffs. So I'm saying it changes a lot because now you have somebody who we all thought was a has-been can potentially win 8 games in a bummy division. Let's say they go to the playoffs. Now
and the schedule get weeks.
Yeah, now let's say he's now $20-25 million as a backup or as a potential starter somewhere. And I would say Chicago, somewhere like that. And now you have Dak trying to figure out like, well, I still want my 35 or 41. It's like, bro, you'll be lucky if you can get 30 after this. Like, we got to see if you can even. He's a running really quarterback. He's not no pocket passing dissector dude. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Nate, let me get your thought. Just, I wouldn't say on blowing the bag, but not locking down and accepting the deal when he should have, man. Let me just get your thoughts just on everything. On an unfortunate situation.
I'd have to say it's very unfortunate. I was watching it live when it happened. It was just, sick to watch. But also, he's been through a lot this year. His brother committed suicide. So, definitely praying for Dak, his family. But at the same time, you guys are completely right. He just got some really bad counsel, I'd say, before the season not signing that deal. Like Amir said, I never thought his market was anywhere close to Patrick Mahomes, the Deshaun Watson. And I think if his reputation was being honest with him, they probably would have told him that same thing and had him sign that long-term deal beforehand. Because, I mean, Dak has never showed me anything that he even has like the potential to be a Mahomes type guy or Lamar type guy or Deshaun. And that's no disrespect to him, but he's just not even in that same bracket of quarterback. I thought him asking for $40 million was pretty greedy early on, and he ended up getting $31 million this year under that franchise tag, which is still, that's a lot of money. But at the end of the day, man, you got to go with long-term security. And people were mad at Jerry Jones, but this is exactly why you don't offer him that much money. Or if he wasn't going to take this deal, that's why you don't offer him the large deal, because you never know what he could actually turn into in his football. Like Amir said, a lot of injuries. And it's, it is a bold statement because it's easy to say in retrospect that he should have signed the deal, but he should have. And I think anybody that really kind of was watching NFL football realized he was never in that stratosphere of quarterback as those other guys. So why would you gauge your market off of a Patrick Mahomes, off of MVP type Lamar Jackson? Like, has Dak ever been a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? I can't say that. And so, you got to get better counsel, better representation, I'd say. But, that's easy for me to say. I'm on the sidelines. I'm not really playing quarterback in the NFL. However, you got to prioritize long-term security whenever you get the chance.
Man, that's a fact, man. Good points for sure. I definitely just think he should have, I don't know, bro. Like you said, it was maybe just the counsel around him. Maybe it was his managers and his whoever is around, personnel around him. But they definitely should have just guided him more in the right direction, because even Deshaun Watson, who got a $40 million a year contract, that's still $5 million under what Mahomes got. So it's always going to be a market. And Lamar may get like 40 to 42. You know what I'm saying? But Dak just feel I would have been comfortable paying Dak anything from 27 to 32 million dollars a year. You know what I'm saying? Like in that range.
Like he is he even a Pro Bowler? Like, I'm just being realistic. Like I watch.
He's like when I do my list, he's always like 14th, 15th. Like, granted, this season he was having an amazing year, but
like the Cowboys, what 1-3? The Cowboys 1-3 coming into
saying, like, statistically, he was having one of his best seasons, but it's like you got to take it with a grain of salt, because it's like, damn, you throwing for 500 and y'all down 30.
Yeah, they stay losing. Like I've always thought Dak was kind of, I'm not gonna say, well, for lack of better words, I'd say replaceable. Like, I don't feel like he gives you anything special out on the football field that I haven't seen before. Like, you're never gonna find a Patrick Mahomes. So that's an unfair comparison. But I mean, you know, he doesn't really line up with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he doesn't really have the pocket exposure of a Tom Brady. I mean, he's not as accurate as Drew Brees. Like, you know, not as fast as Lamar. Like, he doesn't have any quality that I would say is a great quarterback quality. I mean, like, you know, he's a good leader from what I've heard, good dude by all accounts. But I mean, his play doesn't indicate $30 million to me personally.
No, I definitely feel you. I think the one thing that I've realized is, like, even if a dude doesn't even necessarily deserve it based off his skill set, just off the strength of the position, you have to somewhat pay the market value. So to me, my magic number for him would have been 4 years, $32 million a piece each year. The problem is that
32 mil?
I would have given him 32. If you look at that, that's around.
You said 32. I thought you said 42.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I'm 30.
I was about to say,
that's
damn.
around. Yeah, that's like the Matt Ryan. That's the Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill. Like, we were in like the mid-tier level.
And I think he's better than them.
Exactly.
I don't even know, though. Matt Ryan at least had an MVP type season. Like, I've never seen Dak win a playoff game.
But Dak is on his way, though.
Yeah, he has
I
one.
hope so.
He has one
playoff win.
That defense is certainly half of the reason why they ain't winning nothing. Like, they've yet to put a bona fide defense around him. But personally, I would have said a $32 million over 4 years, with 4 years, $32 million each. I think he wanted 3 years, 41, which is crazy. Like, that's like supermax NBA money, which is like, that's greedy to your point, Nate. Like, he wanted 2 bites of the apple, and it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, no.
They had allegedly $35 million on the table. It's like, why not
take
that? Like,
as somebody who wants to be an agent, that was the point for me. I was like, damn, bro, like, you have 35 over 4 years at a 4th round pick. Like, it really doesn't matter what you end up doing. They're gonna have to pay you that money irregardless of your record. Like, and now you went from getting 35 million guaranteed to, honestly, 30, 29, 28, maybe 27.
Off of this injury?
Or a franchise tag where he might make one more $30 million contract. But then that goes into who aside from Dallas is going to even pay for him to play.
Yeah,
you have three unified rookies that are coming in. Cam is showing he's about to be comeback player of the year. I mean, you have Dwayne Haskins over in Washington, who's 3 years younger on a rookie deal. Yeah, a lot of people say he's ass.
I ain't going to lie. He's trash.
I don't know. I think, bro.
I'm not ready to say that just yet. Redskins,
I think, bro, it's nice. Like,
Redskins
for real,
is not a good place.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he didn't get a lot of time to show what he have.
Yeah, but it just said. Like, no, you're 100% right. I just think it just goes back to just like the wheel's gonna keep turning. Like, it's gonna be a whole new story coming out of Dallas this year. It's gonna be even more stories coming out of other teams to where now Jerry Jones being the businessman, he's gonna be like, well, damn, I can pay Cam 30 and get the marketing with him being there.
Shit, not even 30. Sure, I can pay him 22.
Exactly,
because he in line.
But feel me? And he's like,
the Cowboys could have even gotten Jalen Hurts. They could have even drafted Jalen Hurts because I was never really sold on Dak. Like, even before this season, I thought it would have been smart for them to get a quarterback. Like, this is a pretty strong quarterback year, in my opinion. So, you know, you drafting a lot of wide receivers, which is good. CeeDee Lamb is great. You know, like Mark said, Cam coming back was a good story. But, you know, he can get replaced, I think. So, we'll see, man. We really will see.
Shadow Clan G Cowboys. I feel like they could still win the division. Andy Dalton's not a scrub. He's proven.
That division.
And he finally got pieces. Yeah, that division is terrible. Philly, I don't know what they're doing. Washington football team.
We know
Lord
it.
bless them.
Yeah,
We
they
know
changed
what they're doing.
And who's the other team in there?
the Giants.
Stop it.
Yeah,
All right. But I feel like we already talked about free agency and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Was that something y'all want to get into again, or was y'all good?
We might have to see. We might have to wait for that one for next episode. See if any news comes out in this next week.
Yeah,
everybody letting Lakers celebrate.
Yeah. Fact though, man. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come back to that last topic. We're gonna start the next episode off with that one, depending on if it's breaking news. But we definitely gonna hit y'all back with that. But man, I appreciate y'all for checking in. Make sure you all go over there, follow Micah and Friends on IG, man. We dropping clips I ain't gonna say every day, but we dropping clips weekly. You feel me? So make sure you go over there, tune in, check us out. National Sports Chat. This whole podcast is being presented by National Sports Chat. So make sure you go over there, follow us, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, IG, Twitter, Spotify, Breaker, Stitcher. Shout out to the ones that's on live right now. This whole podcast is being sponsored by TOV Sports. So make sure you go over there, follow them, YouTube, Twitter, IG, all that. And make sure you all check on this Matchmakers 12U, man. We've been covering a lot of youth football games, man, national games, man, on the channel. So make sure y'all go over there, check that out. That's coming this Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. Make sure you set your clocks. We'd love to see you all there. We'll be commenting in the comment section with you all. Other than that, we don't have nothing else, man. Make sure you check out At The Line. We just did the Mount Goatmore, the 5 best players in the 90s, and we're doing the 2000s later this week. So, man, make sure you all just check in, keep rocking with us, man, and we checking in and checking out, man. Micah and Friends podcast. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all boys, man.
You already know, bro. Good looking. Y'all be safe.
Easy, man. Man,
All right.
likewise, Brody.
Something you can't understand. How I just keep killing, man. I'm from the South Rim, spinning like ceiling fans, gambling with life, no complaining about the dealer hand. Back when niggas used to ride around the Dipset, now these cops will shoot you on your live. That's a killer cam.